do, custom crew? It's your big dog Molly Mark. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to sublimate on skinny tumblers using a conventional sublimation oven. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay guys, so here we are. Everything we're going to use to get started on sublimating on our skinny tumblers. But before we get into this, let's take care of some housekeeping items. I need you guys to like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the post notification bell, and also don't forget to comment on this video, alright? Also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at kustomsupport, alright? It really helps out the YouTube channel, and of course helps out, you know, the social media platforms when you guys, you know, chime in and, you know, we create a nice community base, alright? So, as I said before, this is everything we're going to use to start sublimating on our tumblers. We're going to start here with this bad boy. This here is our conventional sublimation oven that we got from Heat Transfer Warehouse. I'll get into more of the specifics and button usage and everything here in a second. We also have back here our sublimation shrink wraps. We're going to use a heat gun, some heat tape, all right, of course our skinny tumblers, and then we have our sublimation transfer sheets, and of course I have my chopping block here, which, you know, just a cutting board, or if you know, if you want to use scissors, either one is fine. Okay, so here we are with our sublimation oven. So I'm going to go over our buttons here from left to right. So starting here, this knob here is going to control the actual temperature. As you can see, the blinking lights right here, this is the temperature. It does read in Celsius. You cannot change it to Fahrenheit, unfortunately. But it does come with an instruction manual, which I'll show you guys a little bit later on in the video, to let you know what exactly you need to set your temperature at in order for you to sublimate on your tumbler or any other type of drinkware that you may have. So if I turn to the left, I can go down on the temperature. Turn to the right, I can go up on the temperature. And of course they do have a minus and a plus sign here to let you know in which direction your temperature will go. Moving here, this white, or not white, these black buttons here, you have your upper tube and your lower tube. Your upper tube controls the heat for the bars, the heating bars that are on top of the oven, and of course your lower tube controls the ones that are on the bottom. Your upper tube ones are really what you're going to use to sublimate on your ovens, because it gives, you know, it's going to give off more heat per se. Your lower tube, you actually can use the lower tube to if you want to dry up some sublimation transfers that you might have, that, you know, you print something off, the ink is taking forever to dry, you can put it in the actual sublimation oven, you know, and it'll dry it up. So that's an option. I haven't done it myself, but I may give it a try just to see how it works. So I press upper tube, as you can see here, the one here on the left is blinking. That lets you know that you're only controlling the upper tube. If I press lower tube, then this one right here is blinking. Again, let you know I'm controlling just the upper tube, lower tube. If I press both, I'm able to control temperature for both, which is pretty cool. Now over here you have your timer. Be mindful when you're playing with the timer. This goes in hours and minutes. So don't be confused and think that it is seconds and minutes. This is hours, this is minutes. So as you can see, it's set on 5. This is for 5 minutes. And then of course this button here controls the timer. As you can see, go to the left goes down. If I go to the right, it goes up. Low temp dry. This is the button you would press if you want to, again, if you were using the lower tube to dry a sublimation transfer, you will press this low temp dry, and that way, again, that will help your sublimation ink dry on your sublimation paper or any substrate that you that requires a low drying temperature. Hot air button. This hot air button is to help circulate hot air that's in your oven. So if you're running a job, let's say you got, you know, a bunch, you know, you got like 50 tumblers you're trying to do, and you don't want to having to keep preheating this oven, you can hit the hot air button. Of course, leave your door closed, hit the hot air button, and the hot air that's already in, it will just keep circulating, so that way, again, you don't have to worry about the preheating, which can take up to about 10 minutes, depending upon the location you have it. And then this button here is just a simple light button which controls the light that's inside the oven. Sublimating on skinny tumblers, I'm gonna have to set my temperature to 195 degrees Celsius. And my timer is gonna be on 5 minutes. Now I'm gonna hit start. Hope you guys can see it. There's like a little heat wave indicator right here. This is letting me know that my oven is preheating. Again, preheating can take a few minutes. All right, so let's move on to everything else. First, I'm gonna start and show you guys this here is the instructions that came along with the tumbler. Short book, everything here is pretty self-explanatory, but I do wanna show you guys this in particular here. They have nice parameters in here to tell you exactly how long and at what temperature you should sublimate on your drinkware, and then it also has increased, times and temperatures depending upon how many pieces of drinkware you're putting inside the oven. So that's pretty cool. So you definitely would get that. It comes along with it, and they also sent me a nice little oven mitt, which I greatly appreciate. So talk about these. These are the shrink wraps. We're gonna use this shrink wraps that we're gonna put around our tumbler that's gonna help with the pressure. I'll get into that here in a second. Of course, we're gonna have our heat gun. This heat gun, again, I bought this from Heat Transfer Warehouse. This is an industrial heat gun used for like welding or like construction work and things like that, home improvement type stuff. So we're gonna use this to melt our shrink wrap on our tumbler. Of course, you wanna use heat tape. Like I said, heat tape is going to, of course, heat resistant, obviously. We're gonna tape that, use the tape to tape our sublimation transfer here. Show you guys. I'm gonna use it to tape our sublimation transfer around our tumbler. It's important to make sure you get heat tape, because using scotch tape or duct tape or electrical tape or any other type of tape will not work. It will melt, it will mess up your tumbler. So get heat resistant tape. You can get it from pretty much any and every type of crafting store, website, Amazon, wherever, okay? But the moment of truth is, I'm gonna show you guys what's in this box here. First, of course, it comes with a nice little straw, nice little metal straw. Keep that in the plastic. But I'm gonna show you the skinny tumbler. Nice size tumbler. I know it's called a skinny tumbler, but it's not as skinny, I would say. I'm gonna pull this down. Nice. I hope you guys can see how nice and polyester coated it is. I'm gonna take the top off. Nice clean top. Nice clean in the inside. So, well, one, I'm gonna make sure I hold the plastic instead of holding actual tumbler, because I don't want to get any type of dirt or oils from my hands or anything like that on the tumbler. So, or especially any type of fingerprints. So I'm gonna hold it with the plastic on. This came from Heat Transfer Warehouse. It came in a box of 50. Really good price. Pretty much selling these tumblers will pay for the tumblers themselves as well as the oven. I'll get into that later on in the video. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do, guys, is gonna take my transfers, and I'm gonna do them one at a time. I'm going to cut around the white edges off, because I don't need it and it's gonna mess up my image. So you can use scissors. I like to use my cutting board. And after I cut this up, I'm gonna talk about the measurements that I use in order to size up my tumbler, size up my image for my tumbler. All right, there. And as you can see, we cut off all of the white, because again, we don't want those white pieces to mess up our tumbler. Okay. All right, now I want to talk about sizing up for our tumbler. Okay. So with these tumblers, I like to use my little measuring tape here. Hopefully the camera is picking it up. I like to take my little measuring ruler here and just measure the circumference of my tumbler. So I like to take like I said, I like to take it and wrap it around, get it nice and snug the best I can. Hopefully you guys give me a second. Let me get that. All right, here we go. All right, so I have it nice and snug, and if you can see it, hopefully you guys can see it. So it's about 9 inches. You see where the gold tip is right here? It's right there, right about the 9 1/4 mark. But just to be on the safe side, I go 9 1/2. So that's 9 1/2 on the horizontal side. So width wise, you want to go 9 1/2. That's just my recommendation. You know, of course, you guys do what works for you, and I'll show you why I go the little extra 1/2 inch when we wrap up our image on top of our tumbler. So next, I'm gonna go vertical. So let me take the top off. Set that down, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pretty much just put the gold tip right up top. Make sure it's nice and even with the top of the tumbler, and I'm gonna go all the way down. And as you can see, it's right there about 7, a little bit more than 7 3/4. So it was about 7 7/8, give or take, somewhere around that number. So of course, again, just like going around horizontal, I like to give myself a little bit more of a cushion. So I'm gonna go probably 8 1/4, or maybe 8 1/8. So on a measuring scale, like on your whatever design program, you'll probably want to put it at 8.125, give or take. Because honestly, looking at the top of the tumbler here, it's not like it's going to overlap much inside of the tumbler. Just about right here along the lip of it. At the bottom, don't really worry about too much the bottom of it. Like, of course, I want to cover the bottom, but I'm not too much worried about it wrapping to cover all this inside of the bottom. So yeah, I measured this again. I measured this at 9.5 going horizontal, and then vertical I measured at about 8.125. So now we got our measurements out the way. Now I'm going to take my tumbler out. First, I'm going to take this back off. And of course, yes, I'm going to put my hand in the inside just because I don't want to get any fingerprints on my tumbler. And I'm just going to handle it this way. Of course, with customers, I will use gloves and recommend that they hand wash prior to drinking anything out of this. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my transfer and I'm going to just place it right on top of my tumbler, like so. And get it nice. I'm going to sit it down. I'm going to sit my paper down right there, even with it. And I'm going to just wrap it around. Now, of course, you can see that here up top. See, I give myself just a little slight bit of cushion. But I'm going to actually flip it upside down and do it. Make sure that my paper is nice. Again, make sure my paper is nice and flat. Boom. Now the top of my paper is nice and even with my my paper is nice and even with the rim, the lip of the tumbler. And of course you can see there's a little bit of excess at the bottom, but it's not a big deal. Now I'm going to take my tumbler and I'm going to wrap this piece around here, get it nice. I'm going to get it nice and tight, and then I'm going to do the opposite side, wrap this around nice and tight. And as you can see how it's overlapping. Not overlapping by much, but it's overlapping. So maybe want to probably do 8 1/4 may be the best as far as wanting to get it. Excuse the beeping noise, guys. I just got my sublimation oven back up to preheat. But yeah, going 8 1/4 may be a little bit better. But as you can see here, hopefully, let me get the camera. Hopefully it picks it up. All right, you guys, you see how the paper right here, how it's overlapping over each other? That's what you want. You don't want it to be right even next to each other, because you can run the risk of them not touching for whatever reason. You might not have a tight enough grip, or the the tape might loosen up or whatever type of situation may happen, and then you wound up with this white streak going down the middle of your tumbler. So that's why it's very important to make sure again that your paper overlaps. So I'm gonna get this nice and tight. And once you get it nice and tight, we're going to get our tape and we're going to tape it off. Of course, you don't want to tape. You don't want to tape on your tumbler. You want to make sure the tape is right there on the paper. So I'm just going to grab it like so, and use as much tape as you need to make sure it's nice and snug. So I like to hit the middle first, and hit the bottom, and then hit the top, or again whichever direction you want to go is not a big deal. It's just personal preference. There you have it. Now we want to get to the shrink wrap. Okay, so now we're going to put our shrink wrap on top of our tumbler or over our tumbler. So this is just like a thin, plasticky kind of cover. It feels real plasticky, like you can pretty much kind of tear it. Well, not really so, but it's real thin. But once we heat it up and put it over our tumbler, it's going to harden, which is going to give us that pressure that we're going to need to make sure that the sublimation process takes hold. Because normally when we do sublimation, right, with like drinkware or even on shirts or any type of substrate, we use a heat press or a mug press, right, and we give it that nice good firm pressure. But because of doing it in the oven like so, we would have to kind of rely, if we didn't have the shrink wrap, we would probably have to rely on our own personal strength to make sure we had the paper nice and snug, like I did just a second ago. But the shrink wrap is going to give us that extra blanket of security to make sure that, one, our paper doesn't move, two, that we don't get any ghosting, and then three, we get the right amount of pressure we need. So I'm just going to put it in, and then I'm going to take my heat gun. So it may get louder here in a second, guys, but I'm going to take my heat gun just to show you guys. So back here on the heat gun, you have low and then high temperature. So I'll turn up the high temperature, and then of course it's very simple, easy to use, just like a blow dryer, hair blow dryer. So, and I'm going to take my tumbler, I'm going to take my heat gun, and I'm going to go ahead and heat it. I'm just going to heat it up, hit it nice and even, up and down, up and down, up and down. Want to make sure I hit the back, want to make sure I hit the top, and as you'll see that it's going to harden up and give it that, like I say, you're going to have that amount of pressure. Be careful when you're using this, because it can get very, very hot if you have a certain area for too long, or if you have the temperature too high, and you potentially can burn yourself. So either use definitely use gloves if you don't feel comfortable, but just overall be careful. So it's going to get loud here in a second, guys, so just bear with me, please. So here it is, I'm just hitting it up. As you see how it's tightening up, nice and even, nice and even. You'll see bubbles on it and everything, and that's fine, that's perfectly normal. We're gonna heat up those bubbles and get them out of there anyway. As you can see, it's tightening up, folding up, put it up. As you can see, as I'm heating it up, those bubbles are going away and the area is smoothing out. Yep, see that? Hopefully the camera's picking it up pretty good. Doesn't take long, just choosing to want to get as much bubbles out as possible. Okay, and there it is. You can see it, see that? See it? Hear that? See how that's nice and snug, you guys. Nice and snug. You guys can see that. Let you know it's melted on. Now, of course, you're gonna have some type of grooves in it from the paper and the tape on it, but that's okay. I got all the bubbles out as much as I can get. So now we're gonna go ahead and throw this thing in our oven, and we're gonna cook it up. Our oven is up to temperature. So now I'm going to take and just throw my tumbler right on in there, and we're gonna let it cook. It's at 195 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes, and I will see you guys when it's done. Okay guys, so that beeping sound there letting us know that our tumbler is done. I'm gonna open this up and want to grab the tumbler. Everybody can see that smoke coming out. Definitely get yourself an oven mitt or some heat gloves, because these things are very, very hot. You guys can see it right there. The image is sublimated through, just like you would on regular sublimation paper. So that right there again is letting me know that my image was sublimated. So now we're just going to stand by and see, once this thing cools off, how well we did. All right, so the tumbler has cooled down to the touch, and now I recommend you guys get like a box or a trash bag or something like that, because this piece is going to get messy, because this part, though it got hard, it's super easy to crumble up and it's going to get messy. So like I said, get you like a box or something, so that way you can go ahead and see how it's crumbling off, y'all. So just gonna peel all this stuff away. It came out super, super dope thus far. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Take a look at the bottom. You guys can see how it overlapped over the bottom, even over the top. Really don't see much. It's like a little small blemish here. It's barely noticeable. And of course, this is what I'm talking about here by making your image overlap. You see how it overlaps, like so, like it cuts off. That's what you want. If I made it too even, excuse me guys, oven going off again. If I would have made it exact, make the image exact according to my measurements, then I could have ran into a possibility of having, instead of just black line, if you will, going up and down, it would have been a big white space in between. So yeah, definitely make sure you do the measurements, overlapping. I probably could have gave it a little bit more pressure here, probably tape it down a little bit more, secure it down more. Like I said, it's kind of like you can kind of see it up here just a little bit, but overall very good quality. The image nice, bright, vibrant. Yeah, I'm digging this. I'm digging this. So real quick, y'all, before we end this video, again, I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel, who's been, ever viewed the video, liked the video, commented. I greatly appreciate you guys helping grow the channel. Is you all taking the time out to, watch my content. I'm really and truly grateful and appreciative. Talking about price points with these, like I said earlier. So this tumblers came in a box of 50, and it was about 325 bucks. That rounded out to about $6.50 per tumbler. If you take $325 and divide that by 50 tumblers, you'll get about $6.50. The ink is Cosmos ink. If you order the small 100 milliliter bottles of Cosmos ink, that'll run you about 75 bucks. If you order Crafting Besties 8.5 by 11 heat transfer paper, sublimation paper, it's gonna run you about 25 bucks. The Crafting Besties paper comes in packs of 100. So if you divide $25 by 100, you're gonna get about 25 cents per sheet. And being that the sheets come in by 100, I use 100 as well to figure out how much ink per page I'm going to use. So it's about 75 cents for the ink, being that again Cosmos ink is $75. So 75 divided by 100, you're looking at 75 divided by 100, you're looking at 75 cents. All right, so with that being said, $6.50 plus 25 cents for the paper, 75 cents for the ink, That's gonna round up, it's gonna round up to about $8. You can triple your investment, you know, sell it for, you know, $24, $25, whatever. And of course you make a nice decent profit. Oven's gonna run you about $300 as well. So total, you're probably looking at about $600 investment in which you can turn around and probably double, if not triple that in profit selling these tumblers. All right, we just sublimated on skinny tumblers. Came out really, really dope, really, really clean. New asset to the business. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for tuning in. Just make sure you like this video, share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already. Hit the post notification bell, so when I drop more content, you guys will be in the know. Don't forget to comment down below, ask any questions that you might have. I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. Remember, you are valued and valuable. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at I Do Customs. It's been your big dog, Molly Maw. Y'all be humble, stay blessed.